Hi there, good afternoon, December 30th, 2022, nearly the end of this rather tumultuous and fascinating and sometimes disturbing year. My name is Patrick. I'm out here in the snow in the Canadian Rockies because this is home. If you haven't met me before, I am an international tour guide, and so therefore I have this YouTube channel, and this has been a year of travel. Personally, of course, we had two and a half years of pandemic around the world. I would like to take a moment to remember the millions of people who lost their lives and to offer a very warm thank you to all of you, all of us who did the sort of right thing and stayed home. We actually got off fairly easy on this one, given that the last global pandemic was over 100 years ago, the Spanish flu. Of course, we had the extremist fringe all over and the fake news and all those sort of stories. But for the most part, most people did their part. Of course, as a wise man once said, if we were to say to the deceased, is there more we could have done? I think the answer is probably yes. Nevertheless, we got through it. It was a really bunched up a couple of years for those of us who work in travel. Of course, my world had collapsed around me, but it came back to life with this sort of virtual existence. And I thank you so much for all your support and those who follow and share with me. I did start traveling in 2021 again, little by little, but in 2022 it all took off. Do you know I've had over 80 flights this year? Never again do I want to fly that much for everything from my own personal health to the cost to the carbon footprint. But last January, I was here in Western Canada, and then by February I was down in beautiful Mexico in Oaxaca and Panama, and then suddenly, of course, we saw the invasion of Ukraine. And that gives us a lot to reflect upon. And what I would like to reflect upon for a moment, though, is despite the horrific crimes against humanity, what we might gradually have started witnessing here in 2022 is the decline of that sort of strong man dictatorial politics that started to rise up in the late 90s with Vladimir Putin, and then Xi in China, and then of course Trump and Bolsonaro and what's his name in Hungary, and in Venezuela. Whether it's the populist right or the populist left, we've seen about 20 years of this rise, and it seems to have maybe peaked. Maybe. It's been a tough time for our planet the last 20 years or so. We're living a changing climate. We're now 8 billion people. But maybe 2022 starts to feel like just a slight positive change. And I know that is a hard thing to make a claim of right now, given how much loss there has been around the world over the last 12 months, or more particularly over the last 3 years. But it's not that I want to be an eternal optimist, but I want to play my role in a form of optimism and ask how we can each contribute, both individually, but probably more legislatively, for a better world altogether. I think for those of us who come from wealthier societies, we can learn to do without a little bit more. Of course, in this country, we had the it's so hard not to be pejorative, but we had the freedom convoys that went and took over our national capital, claiming to speak for all sorts of things, but proving that they really just didn't understand the constitutional parliamentary democracy in Canada. We've also, of course, seen about a 20-year rise in the social media effect. And it's a tough one because here I am sharing with all of you in a social media platform. And so what's the solution? Well, what do you call a deer with no eyes? No idea. But the solution is, to some extent, to audit and also to realize that we're not all experts on things. When the experts told me that I had to do my part by getting vaccinated and staying home, I did. That noted, as we look around this year, depending, of course, as Boutros Ghali once said, where you stand is based on where you sit. And so my worldview is somewhat governed by my mountains and the fact that I live in a national park. Incidentally, I'm just outside the national park right now. Your worldview will govern by where you are. But it has been an interesting year of kind of a resetting ourselves as we gradually step forward. In fact, it was only in the last week or 2 weeks that people of Hong Kong and mainland China have been allowed to go out. The travel is starting up again in some of those areas. My heart goes out to people in those big cities who have been, wedged into tiny apartments for long periods of time. My heart also goes out to the people who have lived invasions and famines. In fact, 2 weeks ago I was down in Peru, and I love Peru, but I was down there during the overthrowing of their president, and that's worth a whole talk unto itself. In fact, I have a short one on TikTok. But nevertheless, this is just a chance for us all to step back. For me personally, and on behalf of To Me Travel, and on behalf of my friends in our community, thank you for participating and for us all being involved this year. 2023, I hope, will become a slightly more positive world event. It takes a lot of work, but somehow we are having, despite all of the extremism, all of the populism, all of the blame culture, we are having international conversations. That has to be a healthy thing. What's that old saying? There is no planet B. And I do obviously believe that firmly. Although at the same time, of course, my effect politically and socially here can be quite genuine, whereas in another country, A, do I necessarily have the right to opine, and B, what sort of effect can I have? But when we are actually using real science and real conversations, and driven hopefully by a real sense of human rights and human dignity and collective prosperity, then maybe there's something a little bit positive to look forward to. On that note, I'm sure we could have a much longer conversation. I want to thank you for connecting with me and with my sort of broader community. It is a real honor to have both a virtual presence and a of course in-person one. I think I've got lots more kind of guiding and traveling in me to come, and adventures, and it's an honor to share them with all of you. So thank you so much, and as we always like to say, peace and love, and I wish you all a happy, healthy, and loving 2023. Thank you. All the very best.